Greetings and welcome to the program. It is Tuesday, and it is time for Midnight's Edge After Dark. With us is Clobbering Times. How you doing?
Hey there. Good to see you there, buddy. Thanks for having me. And hello there, wonderful friends in the chat. It's not dark. I mean, it's after dark, and we're Midnight's Edge. On the edge of midnight.
We're edgy.
We're edgy tonight, folks.
Also joining us is 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. How are you doing?
You know, it's been a wild day in the home life, but besides all that, everything's gonna be all right. And I truly mean that. Obviously, you know, we got some stuff to talk about today. We got a fire and ice to talk about later tonight. So
yeah,
it's gonna be all right. Things are really good, and we definitely got a very topical topic. So yeah, hail to the chat, hail to the mods. I see you all there. I see D-Bud, I see Goddess of Whim. How are you guys? Thanks for being here right away for the show early, you know, and to all the incoming wrenches. So yeah.
Goddess of Whim, speaking of, says it's her birthday tomorrow. Well, happy birthday, Goddess of Whim, tomorrow.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Oh, well, we have a thing around here when it's birthdays.
Oh.
It's somebody's birthday? Hang on, I got the lyrics here somewhere. Is it? Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, insert kid name here. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, insert kid name. Yay! Where's my $20? It's 25 now. There's inflation. All right. Happy birthday to you, Goddess of Whim. And now, Praying Casino. And also joining us, the one, the only Mexican, Iron Man.
Hey, Mike.
It is.
There you go. How you doing, Mikey? Welcome back to the program.
It has been 2 weeks, my old friends.
It has. It has.
But for
2 weeks too long.
You cannot keep a You cannot keep a brown man down.
Well, nor will we try.
I have exciting news. I have exciting news from the California West Coast.
What news is this?
Yeah. Well, let's see. When you're not busy taking your raft out to go down the sidewalk or down the street because it's flooding everywhere, there are other exciting things that you can do here. Guess what, Tom?
What's that?
You can go to all the bridges and collect shopping baskets and turn them in for cash.
Ooh.
You can tour the homeless camps around Santa Monica and all the Richie Fancy Pants neighborhood by the millionaire houses. You can tour all the homeless camps.
Oh,
and if you want, you can always go down by the ocean, and instead of picking up seashells, you can pick up used needles. Yeah.
Wow, a tourist dream, man. It's amazing.
This is not what I want to do with my weekend, but sure.
Anyways, basically, and by the way, here's the biggest thing I've noticed difference: California, South Carolina. So, like, no one says hi to you. I told someone Merry Christmas and Happy New Year that were walking right by me. They just looked like I was not even there in a space. I held the door open for someone. They didn't say thank you. I thought someone was holding the door open for me. Boy, that was a mistake. I got hit in the head.
Wow. Dang.
Well, I mean, that's what happens in South Carolina all the time. Everybody holds the door open, so you can keep texting on your phone. And I saw someone ahead of me, and I assume they're holding the door for me. I look, bam, bam, phone drops, and Mexican Iron got bump on the head. Looks like a guacamole growing out of his forehead.
Oh, jeez.
And then people cutting you off on the roadways. F this state. Glad I left. Can't wait to get home, but I'm stuck here for another 2 weeks.
Oh no.
So basically, you just fit right in with South Carolina when you moved in.
That must be why you still sound like you were running through a field of daisies.
Well, I'm on the laptop.
Well, you're still sounding a little stuffy.
Yes, I'm still stuffy. I've been fighting the stupid California congestion. I love my family, but I'm allergic to the communism of the state, and it is permeating everywhere. It is just, I feel it. I feel my skin all itchy, and it makes me sneezy. Do I sound nasally? Everybody says I sound nasally.
A little, and that's why I said you must not have left the state yet. So, yes, what a utopia, indeed.
Look over there. Look, there are the homeless over there by the encampment. Hello, homeless. Hello. Hello.
Is there feed the hobo signs everywhere?
No, dude. I went to lunch.
Pet the hobos.
So you want to hear something? I went out with Cameron Pasha for lunch the other day.
I saw a picture of you two.
Yeah, so I went out with lunch with Cameron Pasha the other day. Dude, we're walking up and down the street, and Cameron is pressing up against me. So we're like walking next to, you used to like walk away from the street because you didn't want robbers to come up and get you from the street, in the car. Well, now we're like, he's pushing me up, and we're walking up against like the little curb because of the aggressive homelessness that are there.
Yep.
You know what I always thought would be funny is if like all my friends that were, Hispanic, black, what have you, not white, basically like every time they see a white person, they would act the same way people used to act back in the day whenever they'd see somebody walking down the street that was hold their purse and run across the street. Just start doing stupid shit like that and see how people react.
Dude, I'm telling you this much. Me and Cameron,
I think it'd be funny.
Our skin colors, we're like darker than walnut, right? I mean, we're dark. Me and Cameron, right? When the brown dudes start walking, when the brown dudes are scared going down the street, and by the way, this is at 1:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday. I'm telling you, and I'm not really that scared. I mean, frankly, Cameron's like, "How do you feel?" I'm like, "I'm ready for everything." So I just showed him my 7-inch switchblade that I happen to carry everywhere with me. Mexican Iron Man's ready for homeless attack action.
Yeah, I would love to videotape that shit just to see people's reactions and stuff. I think it'd be funny. We're so glad to have you back, Mike. We got a member chat from Ben Dowdy, who's been here for a month and says, hello. Well, hi. How are you doing, Ben? Hey. And then we've got Darius, who sends us in some popcorn. Popcorn was good for Mikey's story. Thank you, Darius Munchausen. We appreciate that. And then let's see here. Moving on, we've got a lot of people in the chat to say hello to. We got Michael Gonzalez here. We got Snowdub in the house. Ezilla's here. Queen Elizabeth's here. Golf R35 is here. Soul Assassin's here. Darth Maul's here. We got Darth Scipio here. Be nice, Darth Scipio. What's this about here? Maybe because your skin condition. Just say you have a itchy skin condition. What?
Darth Scipio is incapable of ever being nice about anything. So
I was going to say, what the hell has that got to do with anything?
He's just he is trollus emeritus.
Oh, see, you got to make it funny. Be like, no, it's all the crabs you're catching from all the ladies.
Yeah, Darth Scipio is incapable of ever being funny.
Yeah, well, be nice, Darth. Then we got Jamie G here. We got Doba Fett. I said Darth, be nice. Stan Lee's here. We've got so many here. Shadow Dragon. We got Surly Unicorn, as we saw before, saying, what, you utopia? Yeah, indeed. We got Stony D. Stony D's in the house. We've got Nick Weiser hanging out in the chat and on the panel. Horseradish Powers here. We got Stunt Brat here. How you doing, Stunt Brat? Good to see you. Christopher Dominguez. D-Bud Martin swinging around a wrench. Thank you so much. Dr. Coffin Nails as well. Max Mercer's here. Hank VP. Hello. Share out that link. Hit the like button. We appreciate that. And so does the algorithm. But anyway, let's break into this news because we got a new trailer today, Mike. Did you happen to see it?
No.
For Ant-Man and Wasp?
No.
Oh, Lord. That means we got to watch it.
I can go watch it.
I just want to warn Mike, the bit they added to this trailer has that the other one doesn't. Putting Alpha in this movie was the big shock to me.
Yeah, it was a big shock. I was like, how did you get to this multiverse?
Are you fucking with me? You better
No.
be.
No,
Elf's
he's
in
not
this thing.
so fake.
Fucking
He's in there twice.
The Fonz is in this thing. He goes into
That was
like a
weird,
TV multiverse. It's really weird. Laverne and Shirley and Lucy are there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go watch this right now. I'll be back. Hold on.
I'm joking. Come here. God damn it.
This is
Okay,
Barney's
just-
life.
We got to make it transitional though. So like, yeah, I'm sick of editing these things out. Okay, so here's the new stupid trailer for AntMan and the Wasp.
You're an interesting man, Scott Lang. You're an Avenger. You have a daughter. But you've lost a lot of time, like me. We can help each other with that.
Now, people have pointed out they recast the daughter.
They did.
Yeah.
It was a different girl from Endgame. I'll tell
Yeah.
you right
Right.
off the bat. You
Different.
want to call it a nitpick, but I don't like that she got taken out of jail, even if it's still like a juvie, because all it just tells me is, oh, dad's a bad example.
Yeah,
Of
and there's I'm going to say something. So she gets sucked into the quantum
Who are you?
realm.
I'm the man who can give you the one thing you
That's
want.
Kang.
What's that? Time.
So clearly it's going to be a time travel story. Like we haven't had a bunch of time
Of
travel
course,
movies
time
already.
travel
I
again.
can rewrite existence.
What were you saying, Klobby?
No, I'm with you. I'm saying time travel again. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, at least Michelle Pfeiffer looks good.
And shatter timelines. You cannot trust him.
I don't care who this guy is. I just lost so much. He can give us a second chance.
Well, he already knows how to do time travel from Endgame, don't he?
Yeah.
Don't apply
Yeah.
logic, Tom. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And why didn't she warn him about Kang before?
I guess, if I had to guess, maybe there's something Kang knows. I mean, once again, we're going off of what we know so far, or what we don't know. Maybe there's something Kang knows about time that Scott doesn't know. That's the only
Janet
thing I could
didn't-
guess, because obviously Kang's whole thing is he's all that is as far as time goes. So maybe he has something that he knows. That's the only thing I could guess. That's just my theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Janet acted
No.
like she knew something in that last movie.
Yeah.
She didn't talk about it.
That's what I'm saying. Why didn't you? There can be something you could tell a Avenger about, maybe.
Yeah.
And then Gonzalo brings up a point I brought up to Klobby before the show too. I heard this, that MODOK is Yellow Jacket. It's like, why can't any of these characters just be themselves? Why is it another character always has to become somebody else?
When you say Yellow Jacket, you mean the one from that first movie?
Yeah,
of course.
First movie, they
It wasn't
recast
the
it.
real Yellow Jacket either. It was.
Yep.
He was a movie version of him. It wasn't Hank Pym. It sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All right, well, let's keep watching this for Mikey so we can see what. Then I got a little Avatar dragon.
Let me make this easy for you. You will bring me what I need. Or everything you call a life will end.
This is all my fault.
You may not want her to watch this.
We had a deal.
You thought you could win.
I don't have to win. We both just have to lose.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cassie.
So clearly, you know. Loud trailer. Okay, so
he dresses like Kang for like 3 seconds, bro.
it's funny you guys mentioned her being a like daughter like father.
Father like daughter, yeah.
Father like daughter, because I'm positing that at the end of this movie, he's going to sacrifice himself, and the next one is going to be called Ant-Woman and Wasp. How much you want to bet? And she is a new
There
Ant-Man.
you go.
I think.
Well,
Well,
like
she's supposed to
comics.
be Stinger in the book. She's supposed to go by
In the
Stinger.
comics, Stinger.
Yeah,
They
she's
don't
supposed to
give
go
a
by Stinger.
fuck,
But yeah, they
Nick.
and they might not. They might not. They might not. Or I'm just saying they might.
No,
just
I know what you're
ban it
saying, but like, and they'll give her
altogether.
that costume too. You watch, they'll give her that costume and everything, but they'll still call her Ant-Woman
Yeah.
or
that-
Ant Girl.
yeah.
Oh, girl. No way would it be girl.
You know what would be really funny if they followed what they did with Wakanda Forever and they gave her a helmet, but her helmet had like little metal pigtails.
So,
Come on,
Mikey,
that's a good one.
let's start with you. This is, since you just
Well,
watched it.
Okay, so I like the first trailer a lot better because it was more generic, and I am, my tension is up. I was really looking forward to seeing this. My level of excitement and energy level just went down by 75%. And this makes sense because in the first, I read Script Doctor's analysis. Well, he wasn't analyzing the first trailer; he was analyzing the last trailer, and I hadn't seen it. And I thought I had seen it, and I was wondering, what's Script talking about? Well, now that all this other footage is out,
Yeah. Well, it's funny that Lord Trinan says at least it looks like a serious story, not a nonstop chuckle fest. We're going to get into that in just
That's
a little
good
bit.
point.
We're going to
That's
get
a
into it.
decent point.
There's something interesting about that.
did I read? Did I read in the title of this show that there are? Oh, it is. It says undergoing last minute reshoot.
Well, yeah, we're kind of holding off on that. There's a bit of revelation we have coming, and Andre's working on a video as we speak. We've got some inside news on this business. But before we jump ahead of ourselves here, Claudia, what's your reaction to this brand new trailer?
Similar to the pretty much reaction to this after that last one. They don't seem all that different. I got there were some things about it that was a little bit different. I think. What is it? Was it? MODOK looks horrible. This just looks like generic, bland MCU crap to me. Don't get me wrong. I'll go watch it if it's good. Fine. I like the first movie. The second was kind of okay. I like him as the Scott Lang Ant-Man. To me, they never really pleased me with the MCU versions of where they've done it with Hank Pym and Ant-Man and got everything backwards and all that stuff. But it could be. I'm not going to hold out any kind of hope. So if it keep the expectations low, and who knows, maybe it'll be decent. But I do like the point someone just made about it. Looks like at least it's, not going to be just doesn't look like it's going to be a joke fest, but maybe. Yeah. So nothing. Yeah, I don't got much. I don't got much.
Nick, what's your reaction?
There's some. I'm not gonna lie. There's some parts of it that I like, but there's definitely for the few parts I like, there's 20 more things I don't. I did like the line where he said, "No, I don't have to win as long as both of us lose." I thought that was a really cool, heroic line. I mean, because especially for a guy like Ant-Man to go against Kang the Conqueror, that's probably the best outcome possible you can get if we're being realistic and honest with that and the conversation of that. I feel like it's gonna definitely be a total shift a little bit. I think it'll start off as a little jokey just to make you comfortable because the Ant-Man movies are kind of a bit of a palate cleanser, like compared to when they're sandwiched in between Infinity War and Endgame. And that was, something to ease the tension a little until that last post-credit scene in AntMan The Lost, and I feel like that's going to really dive into the seriousness. So I think that does work in favor of the movie. I don't like, once again, I could be wrong. I do get the vibe of the like father, like daughter, but if Ant-Man does go out in a heroic like fashion, I cannot complain if it's done justice. Now, I always also thought too, like Cassie could possibly even die too, and he needs to avenge her for the King Dash, or even what's her name? Maybe Cassie will live, and what's her name? Hope Van Dyne might even get axed. And
I have a feeling it's going to be more like and this is just my speculation. Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead and finish your thought.
No, I feel like one of them because at first I thought, oh, Scott Lang's gonna get axed, and I thought about him like, no, he's not gonna get axed. I think he's gonna be the one that warns them about Kang and everything with the quantum realm and what he can do with time and all. I think either or who
Well, that's
knows,
the thing.
maybe
Michelle
they
Pfeiffer's
might
character is
both
supposed
get
to know him
axed.
already. That's the thing is Michelle Pfeiffer's character knows all about him. She says it right in the trailer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is what I agree to. I don't think they'll kill Cassie, and they may not even kill Scott. They may like have two different versions of him, and because they keeps, they showed us that there is the two Scotts there and stuff like that, and all multiverse
Yeah.
shit. And then the one scene we've seen, there's like hundreds of Ant-Men fighting and stuff like that, like ants in that one scene. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, maybe. But at this point, you could be right, but I think it's going to be more so he makes this deal with Kang to go back in time, and it's of course like the deal you make with the devil or Faust, right? It never comes to be what it's supposed to be. So in every outcome, something goes wrong. So he's going to realize the only way he can stop whatever it is or whatever destiny that is in front of Casey is without him or what have you. He's going to have to sacrifice himself somehow, some way, like he said. And it is a great line if it's in a good scene where he's like, I don't have to win. I just I don't have to beat you. Neither one of us.
I thought that was
as long as neither of us win or whatever it is.
I truly think once again, because of who Ant-Man is and what he can and can't do, that line works in context of who he is. I feel like that was a really strong line. But
because he should also know already that because that's the other thing he should know already from Endgame in that time. Like unless there's a way that they're doing this that just is magical and doesn't really count. Like that's not how time travel works in the Marvel universe. They already established those rules, right? You can't change the past because once you change the past, you're not going back to the future you came from. You're going back to the future, or you're going to the future you just created, right? So you can't just go back and change things. It doesn't work that way.
And that's why I think, and that's why I think there must be something to it that Kang knows, or he's gonna act like he knows just to fuck with Scott.
Yeah, and I never liked the whole absentee father thing, and then they had him. Well, of course, the second time it was the blip, but
and I do like that. It's clear why Scott wants to do whatever he's gonna do without.
Or he
Kang.
was stuck in the machine.
He wants to get time. He wants to get time back from his life that he missed out. So he does want to have that life back. So I mean, I don't feel like that entirely is a bad dad element actually at all, because I just see it as, hey, what dad wouldn't want to have time back in their life? And that's a very emotional tug for any dad.
Well, and Billy brings up a good point. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Nick.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Have it.
Billy brings up a good point here about the whole Loki series. That was prior to the Loki series time, and that's true. But you know what? True. It shouldn't fucking matter. I shouldn't have to watch the Loki series to watch this. This is what's wrong with the Marvel universe. Tell me, Clobby, did you have to read every single motherfucking comic to get into one back in the Marvel day?
No, they used to make
exactly.
Sure
I knew that it's a rhetorical question, but yeah. Well, not just that. That was kind of like Stan Lee's whole thing. Is every comic is a kid's first comic, so you cannot make these things in a way that you have to be underneath so much backstory and preliminary shit that it can't just be explained subtly within the actions of the story itself, right? Like, he would give examples of like, you don't have to tell the origin story every single fucking time. You just throw in a line here or there that just gives you an idea of what is going on. Sooner or later, the audience is smart enough to pick up on those things, as long as it's well written.
Yep.
And that's the thing I loved about the early Marvel films, because there was a lot of people that I turned on to the Marvel universe that were completely unaware that these movies were all connected. Like, there was one specific lady I remember one time, she was renting the new Thor film, and I asked her something about the Avengers movie that just come out or whatever, and she's like, Avengers? What's that? I said, well, Thor's in that too, don't you know? And she's like, no. So I had to explain the whole fucking thing. She was completely unaware that these movies were attached to other movies.
Yep.
And not only, and especially considering she probably stops it right at the credits.
Don't follow this stuff.
Yeah. And granted, this was kind of early on in the Marvel universe. Don't get me wrong. This was like, I think Ultron was out by this point, and it was the second Thor film or something like that. I think she was renting.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
So obviously Ant-Man has to go retrieve something from somewhere, right?
Probably.
Right? I mean,
He has to get stuff for Kang. That's the setup. Is
Okay,
Kang
so
needs
Kang
something
needs
that
someone-
Kang can't
Kang-
get on his own.
Kang
Yeah.
needs somebody to go get him stuff. Kang's a black guy, right? Avi, right?
At least he is now. Yeah.
Kang's dealing in time. So why can't Kang go back to the Summer of Love and have some BLM protesters do a mostly peaceful pickup of this thing?
I don't know.
Movie plot solved. Right? No one will stop a mostly peaceful protest from 2 summers ago. Right? So Kang goes back in time. He says, "Hey homies, I need you to pick up this thing on the download. Yo, what up?" And then Ant-Man gets to live a happy life with his family. No one bothers him. Oh, okay, plot solved. I just saved myself $20 going to the movies.
Yes, indeed. Oh, man.
So yeah, but needless to say, before we get into the second part of this, we've got Steven Lanuto who says no faith in Wasp Man and Ant Part Do. Now with Faux Doc, not Modoc. Faux Doc.
Modoc looks terrible. He looks
I
awful.
like that. Yeah. Well, I don't know what the hell this thing
MODOK
is here.
looks awful. I will say that. I forgot to mention that. MODOK looks like.
Well, how does it look compared to that leaked
garbage.
picture I had? I wonder. I have to drag that back up, but Monkey Jeebus sent me this. I don't know what the fuck that is.
That looks so bad.
Oh my god,
Mikey, you got something to tell us?
What the hell
I
is
didn't know
this?
you were in
What?
I didn't know you were in the movie.
I'm not in the
Mexican Modoc.
How does he keep doing this shit? This
I don't know.
This freaking guy.
It's a real picture as far as I can tell. That looks pretty good. That's better than most of their general special effects. Then we got Shum, who's been a member for 17 months at the maximum effort puppy level. Thank you so much. Says, where are all the elf and Fanta emojis at? I got to work on that. Just thanks for reminding me, though. We got to get that because I think we should be at a level now where you can add some more emojis.
Tom has too much work to do,
channel.
and he's got to sleep and rest. He can't do any of that.
We'll get him. We'll get him. I promise. We'll get him. That's actually, we're caught up on a super chat. We have another question here, though, from Night of Snake, who says, if by some chance Marvel at Disney wants to bring back Steve Rogers, Tony, Natasha, T'Challa, due to their popularity, but can't get back their original actors, who do you want to see replace them in future Marvel stuff? If you don't mind recast, even if they are plucked from multiverse. Thanks. Well, first of all, my personal opinion, I don't want a multiverse thing. If you're going to do this, just restart it or whatever, like a reboot, or just continue with different actors. But now that you've gotten to this point where it's at now, I just soon see a reboot. And as far as the actors, I have nobody in mind. A lot of them I just soon just be unknowns. That always seemed to work better for me in the past. So
Agreed.
What do you guys think? Clobby, sounds like you agree with that at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'd even care at all, I would want them to see. I think they probably should go with the unknowns at that point. So, yeah.
Do you think they should reboot or just continue on? Or
well, yeah. You know what? I hate reboots, as you know, but when you've destroyed something so badly as they have this one, it probably would. I mean, it could help. I mean, it couldn't hurt it anymore, I guess.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at it kind of sooner or later. You got to just kind of have a brush fire. You got to just kind of start from fresh.
Yeah, and that is something that is a staple in comics history. So I guess, and these are comics related movies. Well, since there's no such thing as comics, these characters live in movies now. So yeah, it would. I guess it would make some sort of sense. Just how well would they do it? That would be the question.
Yeah, because also you could do things like this. You could add the X-Men and the Fantastic Four from the start. Like at this point, I wouldn't even worry about bringing the X-Men and the Fantastic Four into the MCU. I just save them for a reboot. I'd be like, yeah, we're going to reboot here. Like take a little break. You know, so they will never do that. But like, yeah, that's what I would do.
Nope. That's a good idea.
Do some also ran shit, you know, like for a couple of years. Just don't do anything that's necessarily attached to the MCU proper, but do shit like Big Hero 6. You know, just a few random also ran Marvel things just to kind of wash the palette for a little bit and then come back with a brand new rebuilt idea for the next 10 years of Marvel or something like that. But anyway, Nick, what do you think?
Say that again. Sorry.
Well, Night of Snake was curious if they should just reboot Marvel or not,
Oh,
and
yeah. Okay.
if we
I
could get a
follow
chance
now.
to bring back Steve Rogers, Tony Natasha, and all that kind of stuff.
Boy.
Would you what our actors would you like to see? And Claudia and I kind of agree that a complete reboot with unknowns would be best.
I truly believe that Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are done, and one, they're not going to just give the shield that Anthony Mackie has to Chris Evans, because that's an identity politics thing. A, B, not that he can't grow hair back or put on a wig, but before Downey Jr. shaved his head, now looks a little like Lex Luthor. He was great. All I'm saying is that his age is definitely starting to catch up with him. I think and I know obviously Iron Man's a CG character for a lot of parts. I just don't think he's got those type of roles in him. Now, could Chris Evans easily do and get back in the shape? Yeah, sure. And he's still got a lot of years and he's young. But I just don't see them want to go back to that, because they're seeing it as, oh, you're going to go back to the white guy. Now, I truly believe Downey is done with Iron Man. Could they recast him? I mean, they could, but oh boy, I don't. As much like Claudia, I don't like reboots. I can't believe I'm saying it, but a reboot is a better outcome than the damage that's being done right now. I can't. Trust me.
I have to
you
agree.
and I, you know how I feel about the reboots. I've made
and that's the thing, because you're right.
damage.
Because if this was firing on all cylinders, we wouldn't even be having this conversation probably.
No,
but anyway, sorry,
not
Claudia.
at all.
You were about to say something.
No. I mean, sometimes you just have to, start from scratch. I guess I wouldn't mind. Or I mean, what else could you do? I mean, find some way to turn back the clock and start at a different point and act like this garbage over the past 5 years hasn't happened. They won't really do that either, because all those
that's a
actors
cheat
are getting
too,
older.
right? Yeah,
It is a cheat.
And that's a
Everything's a
cheat.
cheat.
No,
But
ideally,
that's easy
if
to
it
do with
was
comics
in
and
my
movies.
hands,
Yeah.
if it was in my hands, and they're like, Nick, your decision affects everything, I would just call it a day. Say end the MCU
Oh, yeah, I
altogether.
would too.
Because here's the
Yeah.
thing: like, I'm at that point, like in my life, where if something doesn't get adapted from the books with the current personnel, that's the thing. The toss was keep the current personnel for a reboot, then even the reboot, it's not worth it, because just like they're just gonna do damage again. And I'd rather just have my characters that I grew up on not have damage done to them. So I think it's just the best outcome possible to just say, you know what, this thing needs a rest anyway. It's just
Right.
Top Gun and Avatar are the biggest movies of 2022. And it's not a Marvel movie. It's safe to say, like, I'm not gonna be one of those guys who's gonna post a 500 video saying that the MCU is dead, but you're definitely starting to see the cracks show. The cracks are showing, and even some normies are starting to notice the slip ups are happening. So,
Well, and I think another thing with this building upon so much and having all these characters thrown at the screen, it's kind of reduced the uniqueness and the specialness of these characters. Like to have a Captain America, to have an Iron Man. Like, I mean, to me, if you're going to have 12 different characters in the movies, it's like, yeah, that's cool for a lark here and there. But I think they've gotten just so mired in this idea that they have to have every single character connect with everything. And then we get to the point where we're going like, well, why isn't this character helping? Well, this person's powers would be really interesting to have here because that would help them do this or whatever. Even little stupid things when it comes to characters dying, and we're like, where are the rest of the Avengers? So-and-so just died. Wouldn't there be a funeral? Mike, what's your feeling on this as far as recasting, or just who would you cast if they just continued on like Bond or something like that or whatever?
Dude, I have no idea who the recasting would be. I think they need to give this whole thing a reset, because the special effects have outpaced both the character treatment and the storytelling. I remember one time on a show, I wasn't on the show with you, but I heard you talk about for about 15 minutes the whole experience of watching Iron Man in the cave and go through that. I don't remember if it was a morning show or a night show that I missed, but it was excellent. You took about a good 10, 15, 20 minutes and you really broke down that storytelling experience and the character development in that first Iron Man movie. And the point of the matter is that one of the points you made was that we weren't so focused on the tech. We were focused on the storytelling and watching this guy who's a piece of crap, more or less, and an arms dealer go through this transformation of character development and a plot story and become the hero that we weren't.
Well, it was one of the last times we really had the character, the journey of the hero.
And that's why I mean, it's almost like, who cares who recasts it if we're going to keep doing shitty stories with weird special effects like water balloons that explode and people that talk underneath the water, you know?
And really, that's why you're not wrong. And I kind of recall the what you're talking about is because, yes, Iron Man was the last time we've had one of these movies, especially in the Marvel Universe, where you've had the true hero's journey. And there's certain little elements that not all of them in every story, but there's certain similarities and certain beats. Star Wars is a great example of it. Rambo's a great example of it. The first film is a great example of it in that sense of Iron Man. And really, if you look at the rest of the Marvel Universe, what is it really other than just sequels to Iron Man at the end of the day? And that, I think they forgot that fact. And if you keep doing that and everything has to be connected with everything, it makes it, yeah, it's nice on a business level to be like, yeah, we have to collect them all, or you have to watch them all. But at the same time, I don't want to have to watch them all, and I don't want to have to do fucking homework. I hate that in a movie when somebody goes, well, you don't understand it because you didn't read the spin-off graphic novel. And it's like, I shouldn't fucking have to. No. Those should be fun things for those who really want to get into that. It shouldn't be something that explains a very important plot point.
It should be for the It should be for the diehards, and that's come from someone who has been a diehard. Because I don't blame, like, you know, many years at the comic shop. I've never faulted anyone for, you know, not wanting everybody. It wasn't even just a matter of not being able to afford it, but just because they shouldn't have to invest in every character if they don't want to. Like, invest in what you are invested in, what you like, and you should be able to invest in that and be able to understand it and enjoy it. And just, you know, hold on to that. But yeah, and trust me, I feel like a lot of the, especially, you know, phase 1 and 2, and to a degree phase 3, you can watch a lot of those movies on their own. Maybe I'd say there's probably a different argument with Infinity War and Endgame, but a lot of them you can watch them. They stand on their own 2 feet without having to have prior knowledge. But now phase 4, it relies on you. They assume that when you're watching that you have seen all these movies. And it shows, like, and people are very confused now when they watch these movies. Like, even like I was able to like show, like, you know, I know people saw No Way Home and they were still able to understand certain stuff that they didn't see, like the Andrew Garfield movies, because they're able to fill in context and give hints to what it was and made it accessible. No Way Home was the one movie that they got that accessibility aspect right, but everything else is you have to. I
think No Way Home works so well because it's so disconnected from everything else.
It's
the only thing it's connected to is
yeah,
exactly. Because the only thing it's really connected to is Doctor Strange, and as long as you know who he is on a level of a character, that's all that fucking matters. And you have to know the snap happened and stuff like that. And outside of that, it's really like it does. You haven't had to have seen every other Marvel movie in between there. Basically, is my point.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Nick.
No, but and once again, like, as I like that, you know, for me, yeah, as someone who at one point in time was invested, I like being able to watch every movie and be able to grasp a great picture. But if I, you know, just put on Doctor Strange randomly, I could understand it and, you know, get the point of what was going on. I could put on Ant-Man, same thing. I could put on The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Same thing. Those are all phase 1, 2, and 3 movies. I could understand them all.
And the
they
cameos
stood on their
usually
own 2 feet.
Exactly, and the cameos you didn't need them necessarily. It's nice to have them, but they didn't like predicate on who you knew if this character was or whatever necessarily.
Yes, and there's connective tissue to all these movies, but it wasn't like, oh crap, I'm lost. Like, it was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. And
well, a prime example would be Doctor Strange. If you did not see WandaVision, You're gonna be fucking lost on the last Doctor Strange movie. I have a feeling the
Yes.
same thing is gonna be here.
It
If you
wasn't
have
a
not
Doctor
seen,
Strange sequel. That's a top. It was not just a sequel to Doctor Strange. It was also a sequel to WandaVision. It was
it was the
also a
last
sequel
few
to
episodes of what
Endgame.
WandaVision should have been.
It was a sequel to many things ultimately, and that's convoluted because not everyone's gonna like watch all these things. They're assuming that you see all these things.
Well, and that's why I didn't mind so much, even though I wasn't a fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I did like the Netflix Marvel shows, and those coexisted just fine. And those had one simple rule and one simple rule only, and that is that the movies can affect the shows, but nothing in the shows can affect the movies. Meaning you have to keep everything at a level to where nothing will get in the way of what's going on in the movies, because the movies were the important parts. Now you have a problem of I have to sit through 6, 7 motherfucking shows just to watch a goddamn movie. Fuck that. No, I'm sorry. I don't have time for that shit. And I'm not that big of a fan. I mean, and they got to think of that level. They got to think on that. That's why the sequels always used to be the way they were, for better or worse. Right? Sequels used to be set up, and Klobby probably knows what I'm talking about from his age, and Mike too. Like, basically, like, you used to be able to walk into a sequel and not have to have seen the first movie usually. They were generally set up to where you could kind of get an idea of where you're coming from and just go forward. Sometimes they would have a little recap in the beginning just to kind of give you an idea, but if it wasn't that important, they would just hit the ground running. Right? Like, they didn't care, because it was like you're just kind of getting thrown into this universe, but you'll get an idea of where you're at.
Exactly.
Godfather 2.
Very true.
Well, because most stories, that's how they start anyway. If you think about it, it's fucking dumb. Most stories, when you're getting brought into a story, unless you're starting at somebody was born and then they grew up and, you know, you go through their whole life story. Every story starts in the middle of a story. Really, if you think about it, you're just picking up wherever. Like, look at Iron Man's a great example, going back to what Mike was saying before. The beginning of the movie, we're seeing Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark's having a typical fucking day, right? He's out trying to sell his weapons to these guys. He's doing his thing. All of a sudden, boom, something happens that isn't normal for him. That's how most movies start, right? Whether it's a drama, a comedy, action, what have you. That's just storytelling. That's the way it is. That's the way most sequels used to be. And that's why sometimes they didn't even have a part 2. It was just called whatever, because it's like, okay, you may know these characters, but who gives a fuck? Because that's not the point. That's not important to the story. And if it is, we'll refer to it and give you the information you need to know, because that's what we're here for. Like, because you could walk into Empire Strikes Back and really not have seen Star Wars and still enjoy it. You know what I mean? Even though it does, there's a lot of things that build on that.
Very true.
It may have happened. Yeah.
Want to hear something funny? Because I didn't see the stuff when it came out. I saw that before I saw A New Hope.
By memory, I do, even though technically I guess I had seen Star Wars first. I don't remember seeing Star Wars till after Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Damn, I'm old. But I hear you. I'm sure there's some things I've seen, like the second film.
Sorry for that long rant, but
no, I'm sure there are probably some things like you're talking about that for whatever reason I caught the second one or third one later or whatever. It's happened, I'm sure. Yeah. But so absolutely.
You are not old, Clubby. You are You are wise.
That I really don't think so. That I'm not so sure about, but thank you, buddy.
So yeah, we've got a couple of super chats, and then we're going to get to the other topic of the day. This is kind of more of the main topic, as we say. We got Mikey, who's helping out with the member chats. Thank you so much. Neil is here. How you doing, Neil? He's been a maximum effort puppy for at least 2 months and says, I like the Ant-Man trailer, but I'm waiting for reviews because I'm done going blindly into Marvel films. They massacred Doctor Strange, no blind trust. Kitty, get out. Come on.
There you go.
Sorry about the noise, guys.
Kitty cat.
Kitty jumped right up by the mic.
Cat.
Oh, I figured it was like bong, bong, bong in the mic. I could hear it. Michael Gonzalez says an MCU Marvel Western with the 1800s heroes. Well, there you go. There's something you could be done there.
Two-gun kid. And, odd kid.
We got Alf, who's been a member for 5 months at the minimum effort puppy level. Thank you so much. And then Truth Hope Love says, will Bill Murray remain in the movie? That's a good question. I don't think they can afford not to have him in the movie. They'll get sued.
He's on the poster. His name's on the headline of the main cast. Yeah, Bill Murray is in the movie.
It's a secret movie or secret role as far as we know yet, unless somebody has any idea of what he's playing. But yeah.
I've
Mhm.
not looked into it, but he's in there,
Yeah.
guys. Bill Murray is in the third movie.
All right. And then we've got EVA Unit 4A who says, don't mind tying a few movie superheroes together, but I always preferred anthologies of movies that are not part of Multiverse's OG Superman. Yeah, I mean, and you can do ties, but I mean, they need to keep kind of this idea that not everybody is going to watch all this garbage. You know, and I'm not trying to say it's all trash, but I'm just saying it's too much. It's overwhelming for some people.
I think if there was not as much, it wouldn't be as overwhelming. Or if just as much stuff was coming out and we were enjoying it, we probably wouldn't care as much. No, maybe we would say, okay, hey,
To a
it's
point.
not overload. Slowly, maybe we would say, hey, we're a little overloaded, but at least there's quality content that would make it a little forgivable.
Well, and that's
the
what
thing.
That's what we had in the initial phase or two, because it has now been exhausting. I grew up as a DC guy, and all of this Marvel shit is pretty much fairly new to me, all of it. And so the characters, the storylines, the treatments, blah 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 blah. You know, and that's at this point it's exhausting. It's exactly what Tom said. I don't want to have to go watch some stupid ass TV show that I may or may not like just to catch 1 or 2 or 3 bits and grannies. Keep going.
And that's just it. Have they gotten to the point where there is no entry level?
Well, see, the thing is, Tom, what you've been talking about that has happened to the MCU/MCU did happen in comics over and over again. It's just now that they've just started with this big gigantic universe over the past 12 years, 14 years, whatever it is. Now it's starting to affect that too, because people at the publishers or now people at the movie company, they say we've got to create this big universe and tie everything in because we want to sell it all. And it happened. Yeah. I think to a smaller degree in the Bronze Age, but then later in the 80s when Jeanette Kahn took over DC and did it with Crisis on Infinite Earths at the same time where Jim Shooter started doing it with Secret Wars at Marvel. And then after that, you started every year you had the big summer crossovers and all these crossover books. All these editors started tying everything into one big continuity thing. And then maybe it's just because it's comic books and it carried over into movies. And remember, for the first number of years, they didn't try that. And all of a sudden you get Marvel Studios and first of John Favreau, then Kevin Feige come along and they decide, yeah, we can weave all these movies in together. People want to see just what you've been talking about tonight. And they think that's a great model. And you know what? All it really proves is it worked for them when they were good movies.
You're not wrong. And that's exactly how we know. And I know you're not even wrong because of what Kathleen Kennedy said. Because she has flat out said we wanted the Star Wars universe to be like the Marvel movies and shows to where you have to watch them all. And that's the thing that they're trying to do. That's the gimmick. And it is. It was the same thing they kind of did. And that's what kind of made me that was that gate that kept me from really getting into comics, Clobby. It's because it got to a point where it was like everybody be like, well, you can get into this, but then you have to read this, and this, and this, and this.
Right.
Like, I don't want to read all this other fucking I don't like this character.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to bitch some more, but go ahead.
No, the advent of the direct sales market in the early 80s kind of started a little bit because before that, distribution, the realisms of distribution of comic books were, look, somebody might be able to find this one on their newsstand or that one on their spinner rack. But each week, if we have too many connected stories to everything, it wasn't that easy. Comic shops were not as big a thing. When comic shops started to grow a lot more in mass in the 80s, then you had a direct market. You had a market where people could go to a comic shop and hold their issues, and collect more cohesively, more consistently. And that's when that really started to pick up steam in doing that. So, but they understood in the earlier days when distribution was a bit more dicey. You wanted to buy every issue of your favorite comic, but sometimes it wasn't always easy to do, depending upon where you were in the country. But when the comic shops started getting bigger and growing in the 80s and into the 90s, that's where this stuff started really, really. And again, I think Jeanette Kahn started it the most with Crisis on Infinite Earths.
And all the variant cover crap. And speaking of variants, we have a variant of Script Doctor. He's got a beard.
Hey,
so normally he does not.
Hey, well, it's cold.
It's cold, so you need to cover up the face.
Yep, face needs to be worn. I wear a scarf, and my breath fogs up my glasses that way. So
I hear you. I hear you. So welcome, Script Doctor. How you doing?
I just got out of a massively long meeting, like a 7-hour meeting. So I'm happy to
wow.
be here. If my voice is a little dry, I apologize, but it's been a long day.
Nah, it's all right. Did you get a chance to watch the new Ant-Man trailer, though? That was what we just are in the tail end of talking about it, actually.
Yes, I even posted a article about it on my Patreon. So if you aren't signed up, go sign up, check it out. The trailer is also included in the article, so you can watch it as well. And I basically use all the information from the teaser and that trailer to give an approximation of what the story will be like for anyone to jump in and watch.
Spoilers, it sucks.
It probably might suck, but again, Peyton Reed hasn't really delivered a bomb with regards to the Ant-Man films, his Ant-Man entries. Like nothing
Yeah, but
that's
I
been
didn't like the
critically
last
horrible.
one.
And the other part too, the one thing that I actually put in that noticed in this trailer that I think is probably going to be consistent is the fact that Scott Lang is a character who is a good father. He wants to do more for his kid, but his circumstances keep pulling him away. And I think that's part of the motivation for what Scott wants to do here when he meets Kang. And I think that goes in counter to, say, Michelle Pfeiffer's character of Janet, who she's the misguided old school parent where I'm not going to tell you how dangerous the world is because I want to protect you. Where Scott seems to be the type of guy who's like, I just want to spend time with her to show her the cool things and kind of prepare her. And I think that might be the contrast that we're seeing with this third film.
All right, well, hopefully you're right and it's a good movie, but we'll have to wait and see here. We got Justin Doyle, who says, "Hail, gents. If the sun can never shine on the books, can Iger ever really leave, risking his successor let the light flood in?" Well, that's a good question. Mikey, do you think maybe you can shine some light on this question?
Can he ever really leave? Well, yeah, if he gets busted or caught doing something that he never should have done, that's one way to get escorted out the SEC door. But
they're saying if he never gets in trouble for it.
But yeah, on the flip side, if he never gets in trouble, that's where I would break this thing apart and I would sell it and let the balance sheet kind of wipe all the troubles away in the sale. But what that means is that when I combine with another business, you can revalue different assets. And it's kind of like you reset the value proposition of what the whole thing is and take write downs. And you can bury this loss if there is a 4X kind of loss, FTX loss. All right. I just killed the show. All right. Good job, Mike.
Chewing.
Way to put everybody.
What do you mean you're chewing?
Way to put everybody.
I got supper here.
Mexican Iron Man put everyone asleep.
Mike, you don't put people asleep. You had the greatest rant on Wakanda Forever of all time.
True.
Of all time.
But that's right now I think it's fascinating because for all of the talking you heard, it's been a while since Iger came out and said or did anything. I think he's under siege right now. Whatever is going on in that company, he is under siege right now.
Well,
like he is working and dealing with internal. He's talking to investors, board members, execs.
Ron DeSantis.
Yep, Ron DeSantis, all kinds of shit. This is a guy. He's not out there. He's not out. I'll bet right now he's missing the CNBC tours where he got to talk about how awesome he is and his book is.
Well, and he's got another book coming out here from what we know.
Yep.
But I didn't really have this as a story set necessarily, but I think this is a point where we can bring it up because this came out yesterday. He's saying that the employees have to return to the office now for at least 4 days a week. So this means motherfuckers ain't even been in the office working for the last however many years.
No, in fact, I know I've said this before on a couple of shows. I've got two friends of mine. One, the one in California that does. I can't say which is which, but one does. I'll say one does fixed asset accounting, and another one does what I would call treasury management type of accounting, but not for one of the business units. But both of them have been completely remote, and one of them only has gone in maybe 2 or 3 times in the last 6 months that I know of. Yeah, and they both had nice offices, type of.
I think this is going to become a more common thing as we move along here through. That people are going to find out. Yeah, I can just work from home. Fuck this.
Well,
to an extent,
there's a lot of aspects
to a degree
where you don't have to be in the office.
There are,
right.
But to an extent and to a degree. But when it comes to certain things, you do want that synergy to roll things up and get things done. and so I'm
Well,
very sympathetic.
In the memo that Disney got this week, it says, in creative business like ours, nothing can replace the ability to connect, observe, and create with peers that comes from being physically together. So this is basically them saying, come back to work. Where have we heard this before, though, guys? Oh, yeah, a few months back when David Zaslav said, get your asses back to fucking work if you want to get paid.
Yeah, but Tom, that's different because Tom, that's different because Zaslav's racist and he's a colonizer. He's not an ally.
I was going to say, of course, the reaction is going to be completely different. 100%.
Well, yeah, because Zaslav is not an ally.
They're going to be like, he's right. We've been so disconnected. We need to get... Wait, I got to put on the voice for this.
We need the voice.
We've been so disconnected for all this time, and oh my God, we need to get back together so we can tell good stories again about what it's like to reconnect with people we love because we destroyed the fucking world for the last 3 years. And we're just gonna pretend like nothing is wrong. Oh my God, get that racist off the screen!
Jesus Christ.
Amazing. Amazing.
Oh, Lord. And according to Night of Snake, Bill is playing someone named Kylar, I think in Ant-Man 3. I thought he would have made a good MODOK. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. You got Bill Murray and he's not playing MODOK? Okay. I think he's going to be like a lot like Jeff Goldblum was in Thor. I think he's just going to be like a goofy character probably.
Yeah, he'll be that between that and the opening bits of what Scott will have before his life will get serious. Those will probably be the few bits of comedy before the rest is all serious and will you not, Scott type of stuff.
Well, it doesn't sound like, regardless of whatever hopes some may have about this movie. Because the day that before they dropped this trailer, news broke out that they are doing some reshoots on the movie.
Why would that be so late in the game? We're in January. This movie's like
It's a good question.
This movie is literally 5 or 6 weeks away from. Isn't this coming out like the 20th or some shit like
February 17th, I think.
Okay, that is literally a month and less than a week away. Why in the hell would there be any reshoots in the last 2 months?
That's a good question,
this
Mike.
Close and they're doing it might be continuity.
Or do you think it's just
they
like
did
a post-credits
posit that?
scene?
So you're gonna have to explain that to me. I've never.
What the hell does that mean?
Okay, so I'll read this real quick. Recent photos surfaced online showing Paul Rudd still doing reshoots of scenes for Ant-Man 3 just weeks before the theatrical release. Twitter fan account paulrudd.com uploads photos indicating that the actor is on set last January 6th. So that's just a couple days ago. According to the direct, this may not mean the production is in trouble. In fact, they could just be a continuity shoot. Now, this is something I've never really heard referred to before too much. I have an idea what it could be. But so, Script, tell us what a continuity shoot is.
Okay, so a continuity shoot is if, say, an actor works for 3 weeks, 3 weeks straight on a scene, and their costume is very specific, and then they go back to do a follow-up scene that takes place within the same day of the film, like in the film story, and he's got either the wrong T-shirt on, or he's got a different watch, or it's on a different it's on the left hand wrist instead of the right hand wrist. Those types of things. That's a continuity error, and usually those are pretty minor. Nobody cares. The other types of continuity error would be a line was spoken in a scene that's pivotal to the story. However, the line is a contradiction. Something happens later. They pick it up in the edit, and now they order a rewrite to correct it, and then schedule a reshoot for it so that doesn't break the continuity of the story.
Okay. Because normally, my understanding of how it goes is when you shoot a movie, you have kind of set reshoots anyway. Because you always know once you get into the edit, you're going to need this, you're going to need that. You maybe didn't get on the day, what have you.
It's also part of the
those are scheduled. Yeah. And then usually you'll have other reshoots later on down the road. They don't always mean something significant. And as they're saying here, that could just be that. So let's move forward from there and taking that in consideration. There may not be that much to pick up from these photos, except that it is before or after the main story, because they show a similar shot in the official trailer last year. This could be when everything is done. Something to the tune of Scott Lang returning to the normal, unthreatened life, I guess. I don't know if you never... That's not really good journalism there to put that like that. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. You know, those times in the story when once everything is solved, the characters go back to... Like, why is this even here? This shouldn't even be here. Sorry. The movie launches Phase 5 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, needless to say. It is a highly significant movie, is it? It brings Kang the Conqueror into the universe. Well, you wouldn't know that unless you watched Loki, which we were just discussing before you got here.
There,
Yeah.
In Phase 4 from the Loki series, Season 1. Yeah.
Heck,
Destruction of the
reshoots could have something to do with setting up Phase 5 that they probably didn't feel was fulfilled in the initial cut.
Could be. But yeah, so here's those pictures. They're just, they're not that big of a deal. Fan theories are online saying how the bangle of Mrs. Marvel and the rings of Shang-Chi are keys, the very items that Kang is looking for. So that's supposedly what he's looking for, I guess. Of course, we know this movie sets up what is to come, which is the multiverse saga. Thus, so many key elements of the overarching story rely on this movie. So yeah. Just more nonsensical garbage. So you're right, Script. This may be very well next to nothing to worry about. But we may have some information that that's not the case.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. Tom, hit the button. Hit the button, Tom.
I do have one of those.
Tom, hit the button.
Now, I don't know how much I can say here, but let's just say we have a video coming out about this. And the reason these reshoots are happening so late is they got some notes. The movie is too dour and dark. I'm not sure if I can go into too much more than that, but the notes were about lightening the film up. So, what do you guys think on that? That's the most I can say right now. But
I'm going to go first this time. I have a news flash.
More to come.
I have a news flash. Most comics, despite being called comics, a lot of them were serious, amazing, heroic stories and were pretty damn dark. And not all of them were jokey little, campy little thingies all the time. News flash. Taika Waititi, mother effer.
Very true. I mean, they had their, just because Spider-Man liked to make wisecracks didn't mean everything was a big joke or a big guffaw. There were lighthearted comics, certainly, but they always had deep, dark. They were always dealing in deep, dark villainy. So a lot of them, the greatest stories were dark. Yeah, you're right, man.
And we have joining us Valiant Renegade.
Hey,
guys. It's the grim fairy tale approach. Those grim fairy tales are dark and disturbing, but we read them to children before they can actually learn how to read, and yet they're fine as a result of it. I mean, Hansel and Gretel, two kids being kicked out by their parents, left in the woods. They find a house made of a gingerbread house made of candy, and a witch that wants to fatten them up and eat them, and they end up throwing her into an oven. That's pretty dark and twisted stuff. Yet it's par for the course.
Well, it's not the characters that are dark, or even sometimes now. Obviously, some characters have dark settings.
It's also the fact that it's teaching that the world is a dangerous place, and these are lessons that you can remember.
And step parents suck.
Well, I remember the first time that my children threw an old lady into an oven. I was so proud.
No, I'm sorry, Script, but you're right.
Well, it wasn't a witch, right? So there.
And also in consideration with that and what you guys are saying, that's not good.
But
and you're not. Here's the thing: is funnily enough, what we had heard was that the movie wasn't really bad. It was just that they didn't like how dark it was. The studio didn't. So we'll have to wait and see how that works out. We'll have to see what Andre has to say. So I don't want to get too much into it. So he might be hopping in here in a minute or so. Because I just let him know that we're actually, he just messaged me now. We just started talking about it. There we go. So yeah.
Are you throwing large blunt objects into the side of an upright
I was
piano?
wondering about that. No, what it was is me bumping the microphone with the fucking keyboard because I got it out of the
sounds like hitting the side of a piano.
By the way, Ryan, I haven't said one. I'm glad you said something because I'm like been biting my tongue over here like, oh God, but I know he's eating, so I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh, what with the sound effects?
Yeah, I'm sitting
Oh.
over here, Mr. Producer over here, sitting here dying. I'm like, everybody's eating. Okay, be quiet.
I'm eating. I just had flaming hot Cheetos popcorn.
When are you
Really
not
good.
eating, Nick? You're always eating on a stream. I think you have a tapeworm.
I probably do.
Or some burnt toast and a rotten egg.
So yeah, I don't want to go too far into that because I don't want to get in trouble with Andre because he's already like, "Fuck's sake, don't say nothing." Yeah.
Tom,
So we're gonna be revealing some more.
Tom, if you discuss this tonight, no one will watch the video tomorrow.
I don't think that'll be a problem. We have 500 some people here, which I'm humbled by, but a lot more people than 500 people watch our videos. So no, this time it was an asshole. This time it was an asshole.
Doing impersonation.
That the last time I was like, I was afraid asshole made that kind of noise. It really, and evidently he did not. So there we go. But we do have some super chats. But before we get into those, Valiant just joined us, and what is your take on all this Ant-Man business, Valiant? Anything to say about it?
Yeah, actually, I finished recording a video a little while ago. I'm going to put out tomorrow on this very topic with Ant-Man, kind of some of my thoughts, comparison to the previous films. I thought the game was fantastic. I laughed, I cried, and I enjoyed it. And then the Ant-Man trailer ran, and I couldn't care less. Ant-Man is one of those properties in the MCU that, frankly, when you look back at the actual financial returns, it's one of the lowest performers in all of Marvel's cinematic universe. It really is.
Oh, yeah, it is.
But it didn't need to be the highest movie to gross either.
No, it didn't need to be, though. It didn't need to be. You're right. However, we're in a different day and age. There's a few problems now. Before, when Ant-Man and the Wasp could get away with a $130 million budget, that's not going to happen this time, I promise you, for the first and the second movie. And there's no post-theatrical distribution for any of these Marvel films anymore. So even if you had films that were scooting by, they had somewhere to go after the theater, like Netflix, multi-year, multi-billion-dollar contract with Disney. That's all gone. Ant-Man has never been a big draw. And that's not a knock against Paul Rudd, who I love. I love Paul Rudd. And Evangeline Lilly. So hot. Okay, it's fine.
Give her a proper haircut. She is.
She's supposed to look like Janet Van Dyne. It's a terrible haircut, but it's supposed to represent how Janet Van Dyne looked in the books. For context, by the way.
Well, he still got it wrong.
Here's the problem with the trailer: is that all I could think of when I saw Kang walk on was, oh God, I forgot how much I hated Loki.
Oh,
now
boy,
I remember.
Yes, he was one of the worst things on Loki.
It's just like, this is just like when Shang-Chi opened Marvel Phase 4, and my initial thought, I even put this in the first video, was this really what we wanted to open Phase 4 with after Endgame? This
wasn't Black Widow was in Phase 4?
Well,
the opening
it kind of sort of was, but it was never intended to be in that slot, though. My memory is that
I mean, even though it does take place within the first three phases,
that's it in the timeline. Yeah.
Well, Captain Marvel takes technically place in Phase 1 continuity if you want to go that, but it's still a Phase 3 film. It's like how No Way Home basically takes place in Phase 3, but it's a Phase 4.
I thought it was a Phase 2 movie. More or less.
I don't know. No, Far From Home was.
No. I meant Black Widow.
Marvel.
Oh, Black Widow was a Phase 4 movie, the first one.
Well,
no, I know, but continuity-wise, it actually
it took place during 2. Yeah. Continuity-wise, it takes place during 2. Sorry.
Okay, here's the point. Either way, whether it was Shang-Chi or whether it was Black Widow, both of those were shitty films to open Phase 4 with. Those were shitty films to follow up Endgame with.
And shitty films in general.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And Ant-Man could be a lot of fun. Paul Rudd is going to have to carry this movie on his shoulders to make it entertaining, because I suspect... Look, Ant-Man and the Wasp, the second one, I saw it one time, and I'm like, done. I don't care. This was terrible. That movie was not, frankly, enjoyable at all. It was boring to me. I don't know what this one's going to look like, but it seems like when I saw this trailer, my first impression was, Marvel is so desperate to get the next big thing going at this point, like right out of the bat, that they're overplaying their hand with this. I mean, the beauty of the Thanos issue in the first 3 phases, it was a really slow burn to build him up, and it's obvious that's not what we're going to get now with Kang. And it looked campy and cartoony, and I just didn't. Nothing about the trailer really got me going. So I don't think this movie is going to do a whole lot better than its predecessors, even when you adjust for inflation, because they're automatically going to be out $140 million of box office revenue from the second movie, because China and Russia are not going to be part of this. Once again, I guarantee you. And without China and Russia, the second movie didn't even break $500 million. So that's where we are. And if this movie comes in with $180 million production budget, $160 million maybe on the low end, I suspect. We don't have any news yet on what it is, but probably I'm telling you it's going to be in that range. If it gets as high as $200 million, which was the average production budget listed for all of Phase 4, holy crap, this is going to be a mess for Disney. So that's it.
Yeah, it'd be lucky if it broke 600.
Oh, they'd be if this movie gets to 600, Disney ought to get on their knees and thank God. I mean, my opinion at this point. I mean, now the movie could come out and it could be spectacular, and audiences might go gaga over it and go back and see it 2 and 3 times. That's just not the history so far with Marvel. At least
that's
not
because
since
the movies
Endgame.
haven't been very good, aside from Far From Home or No Way Home. That was the only one that people went back to watch
Sony.
again.
Right. And like I said, I always carved that movie out from MCU Phase 4 because that was a Sony distributed picture.
Distributed, but not made.
Well,
remember,
yeah.
Disney made it, Sony distributed it. That's the deal. Disney can make good stuff, but they don't.
But they don't, right. Well, no, but Sony had a heavy hand.
And
Tom
I also
Hoffman had a
posit
heavy hand in
how
that.
many times have I posited now that the reason that Spider-Man No Way Home wasn't woke and was a decent fucking film is because they didn't have time to fucking think about it. Because that movie was a direct result of Flashpoint. And it happened because they had announced that that was the storyline they were going with for Flash, and they were bringing back Michael Keaton. The moment that hit the news was when Kevin Feige said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring back all of the Spider-Men from before. Not just one, but all of them. And we're going to bring back some of the... And that was all predicated on that. So that was like a last-minute shift. That's why that movie feels like 2 different movies, if you ask me. I think I'm right in this. I could be wrong, but because if you notice, the first quarter of the movie is the resolution of what probably the original movie was supposed to be. More of this, how does he get himself out of this, this fucking situation that everybody knows who he is. And that sets up whatever. Well, the whole Spider-Man multiverse thing, I think that came later. Like, I don't think that was part of the initial plan because they had to go through Sony for that.
Oh, it's because it wasn't part of the initial plan, Tom. I mean, they basically heard that Warner Bros. Was talking about bringing all those Batman in. And like, oh, okay, we're going to respond and bring in all our Spider-Men in. And that's pretty much what they did.
Well, just like Civil War was a direct result. Yeah.
Yeah, with BVS. And it's funny how Marvel responds to all these things and they fast track it just to beat them to the punch on it. And still to this day, we still don't have a not Flash movie. Still.
Who cares?
Well, we will in a few months.
Yeah, we've got a few weeks, and hopefully by about a week and a half.
And Eternals was the result of New Gods. Yeah, that was the one where Warner Brothers basically stop or my mom will shoot. They did to the. If you know the history of that movie, Marvel basically had that happen to them via DC. Like they announced they were doing the New Gods, so the Eternals was a result of that, and the New Gods never happened. So
thank goodness. Like, thank you for not happening, New Gods. Oh my God.
I mean, yeah, I was never sure that was going to happen anyway.
At least one Kirby creation was spared.
Right. And luckily it was the better one.
Yep.
Well, let's grab some of these super chats here. We got Justin Doyle who says, hey, gents, if the sun never shines... Oh, we got this one already, but thank you. We got that one. We got Super Nate here who says the new Puss in Boots movie, which is great, by the way, is a sequel, and you don't need to watch the first movie or any of the Shrek movies to understand what's going on. Well, isn't that because the original Puss in Boots movie was a prequel to that whole storyline anyway? My recollection?
No idea.
I can't remember now. It's been so many years since I saw it. Yeah.
Never seen to do.
I heard the new one's pretty good, though. So.
Then we got Alf here who says, I think Marvel doesn't understand the multiverse concept. This takes time and passion. Honestly, I think the whole multiverse thing is fucking dumb. It is fucking dumb.
I mean, we can blame Hugh Everett III for that. He's the dumbass physicist who posited the multiverse theory. And then when the comic book creators were like, we have all these weird continuity issues. People come onto our books and they write their own stupid stories that don't sell so well, yet they're acknowledged as part of the continuity. We need to get rid of that. Someone's like, well, I read this physicist paper that there's a multiverse, so why don't we just do that and wipe the slate clean?
Yeah, as a kid, though, I kind of liked it when it was pretty simple at DC, and there was Earth 1 and Earth 2 and Earth S and Earth X and all that stuff.
Well,
not too many. We're not a control. And
it doesn't make any sense because you can't have
Infinite Earth screwed it up.
No, I'm just saying multiverses are just dumb. They're an easy way out of stupid continuity flaws, and yeah, they could possibly exist if you want to get into it.
Abused, but I like them as a comic book concept. I don't mind them. I mean, they can be abused.
To me,
yeah,
they make no sense in a sense that, like, if you look at what a time paradox is, multiverses means that you can never have a time paradox. So, like, in that sense, I don't regret. It just doesn't. It's like on a simple level of no. Because if you can actually travel through time, because the only way you could actually create a multiverse, because what a multiverse would be is the idea that something didn't happen the same way it did in this universe, sending that other universe in a completely different tailspin, one either subtly or in a very, very different way. But you get to the point where there's so many variables that it is impossible. Like, it's just...
Well, it can be badly used, but as a comic book geek, I think it's fine as a fantasy thing, and my favorite episode of Star Trek is Mirror Mirror.
It's too convenient. Yeah, exactly.
I love Mirror Mirror, so I guess I'm just...
But there's even a good example of how... Well, even that's kind of like, okay, yeah, that's fun for a storytelling element of that episode. But even that, you're kind of stretching it, because, like, everything's the absolute opposite of what it is in this world.
Yeah, but it's fiction and it's fun. It can be abused and badly used, but I've always been a fan of the idea, just not how it's used lately. But yeah,
I don't mind it in like a Twilight Zone kind of story. But like, anyway, go ahead, Mike.
So for me, instead of being a whitish Mexican, I would be a Mexicanish white guy in my mirror universe.
You'd be Spanish Iron Man.
There we go. Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Well, technically, it doesn't even really matter because you'd be somebody completely different, because chances are in most of these universes, you wouldn't have the same parents. So you wouldn't technically be the same person. And this is why I don't think the multiverse really could exist. This is
look, I'm talking. Yeah, you're talking about it only really works in a fantasy, although I love Star Trek and it was more of a science fiction trying to, do it like the mirror universe. When you think it to death, it doesn't work. And it's still my favorite episode. But as applied to kids creations like superheroes, I liked Earth 1 and Earth 2 and all that stuff. And Crisis on Infinite Earths kind of overused it and ruined it for me. But I like it. And people like the show Sliders, fun show, it's a fantasy show. I don't mind if you do it well. I didn't watch that show that much, but yeah.
I mean, that could be a little interesting element to it. I mean, even like a movie like the recent and I know I am overthinking it quite a bit, Dr. Coffin, but then again, I'm not at the same time, because you even have movies, like I said, that didn't take it far enough, like Everything Everywhere All at Once. Whereas like that movie got too mired in its bullshit. It's like if it actually would have had fun with the multiverse element, yeah, it was fun to see the universe where people had hot dogs for fingers, but do more of that. Let's see some more fun with that kind of a thing instead of just, every universe is almost exactly the same, or like a anime version of the real world. It gets too stylistic then, and it's just too
an entertaining story. I'm fine with it, and then the really crappy story, I don't like it so much.
Yeah, I'm overanalyzing it. That's for sure.
Yeah, but you're not wrong, buddy. I hear you.
But you're not wrong. It does take time and passion there, Alf. Then we got Powdered Toast Man.
Good one, Mike. Michael
that's
Gonzalez. That's true, Michael Gonzalez. Sorry, go ahead.
No. What were you referring to?
Oh, you're talking about Marvel 2-1. No, Marvel 2-1 number 100. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, okay. It says, you guys think HBO will ever do another war miniseries? Band of Brothers, The Pacific were both fantastic, and I'd really like to see them take on a different conflict like World War I or III. Oh, I'm sure they will.
Someone thinks it's a good enough story, they'll do it.
And they've had such success in the past that, yeah, it's bound to happen at some point. I wouldn't doubt it. Anybody else want to chime in or no?
I got nothing.
I would say I don't see why they wouldn't. They're not like...
Someone has to pitch it to them.
Yeah.
And that's just it.
Tom
It's a
Hanks
good
may have
movie.
one more left in him. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe Peter Jackson will make one with him yet. He did that one recently. So
I mean, Hanks did Greyhound a couple of years ago. Apple just picked it up. I'd love to see him do another one. Yeah.
Yeah. ActionCom says, speaking of ants, any word on them remake? I did hear that it's
Really? Are they really?
Yeah. I can't remember who's
I heard
attached
there's
to
a
it.
them
But,
remake. It's Michael Giacchino is going to
there
do
you
it.
go.
Okay.
I was gonna say I couldn't remember who it was, but yeah.
Yes, we need a giant ant movie in our lives, folks.
You know what? At this point, it's
a
not as
kooky
fun.
ant movie. I would totally would take that. Yeah.
If it's practical
Enjoy.
effects, I'll be more on board.
Yeah.
Because
I
to
know,
me,
ants are
CGI
really hard
takes
to
the fun out of that. Well, I don't care.
Unless they get like the puppet from Honey I
You
Shrunk
want?
the Kids.
I was say, you want my respect? You got to be like John Favreau and sitting there with a steak, going, "Come on, fucking lion, act, come on." You got to sing and dance in the next scene, so you better act in this one. Yeah, right. No, it just takes all the fun out of that. And I don't suggest people, put themselves in danger with animals or anything. It was just a joke. But like, if you can't make a cool big ass ant, like what the fuck are you doing in Hollywood? Kenneth Dowling says, "Hello guys, glad I was able to catch you tonight. I saw Avatar and I enjoyed it as much as the first time. Well, glad to hear it. However, I do agree with Chris Gore. Sequels should have more grown-up sci-fi elements, but maintain the family dynamic." Well, here's the thing. James Cameron only knows how to make the same movies over and over and over again. I keep telling people this, but don't expect this to get into like some major, like groundbreaking storytelling at any point.
Unless he's ripping off a movie from another
Something else,
country. Yeah, he only knows how to tell the one story.
Yeah, Alec,
but
I hear that ant from Honey I Shrunk the Kids is going to be in the Them remake.
Good.
His career's having to come back because it was typecasted in only giant ant roles after that. But
Well, work's been kind of slow since CGI, but this
Right.
might work out.
yeah,
More power to it.
doggies.
Yeah, sorry, that's me.
That's
It's
all right.
okay. We like doggies.
We got my dog all the time too. Eric Winberg says, "I'm with script continuity." Well, I don't know if script was saying that's what it was, but he was just explaining to us what it was.
Yeah, I don't know if it's continuity or not, but I mean, if it's this close to the actual release date, it ideally it should be something small. But
Right.
if it's something big, that would usually require them to do a delay. However, Disney's pretty notorious for basically overworking everybody in the industry that's available to get their movie out on time and paying premiums through the nose to do so. Even penalties for for effects houses that have to be late on other projects because Disney has swooped in there.
Yeah, I actually kind of brought this up at the head of it, where I was like, yeah, this is kind of not out of the realm of possibility, knowing Disney's history, or at least Marvel's history, with throwing shit at effects guys at the last minute. Yeah. Then we got Nob Shergill, who says, "Have you guys ever seen the trailer for the new Three Musketeers?" No, I did not. It's a 2-part movie, a French-based film. Looks pretty good. I know somebody had brought this up not too long ago. What did you think of it?
I mean, it looks fantastic. It is in French, so it might turn off a lot of people, but there are subtitles. But it does look absolutely fantastic.
You gonna say something, Valerie?
He's
You're
muted.
If you're talking to us, you're muted.
Oh shoot! I hit the button twice. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm gonna go look this up now. I'm interested.
Yeah. So it's 2-part. They're doing it as a 2-parter. I mean,
kind of like
interesting
the
'cause
old,
like the Style Guys movie from the 70s, which was shot all as one, so they could split it into 2. Which was
with what's his face, Peter.
Michael York was in that. I think?
Or Michael York. I always call him Peter. It's Michael York. Yeah.
Amongst others. Those were good.
Yeah. Somebody brought it up to me because I had posted that I watched the Disney one from like a week ago or whatever, and somebody had said something about there's a new one coming out from. So yeah, I'll have to check this out. Thanks for
Which
the heads
one
up.
was
now.
the Disney one?
The one with? Are you kidding me?
I don't remember
Kiefer
which one they did.
Sutherland?
Oh my god.
Yeah, the Kiefer
Oh,
Sutherland.
that was that's right. That's right.
Sutherland,
Oh
yeah,
god. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, I was thinking of no, the Man in the Iron Mask was not Disney. That's the one I had. in
No,
my
but
head.
it's technically a story. Yeah. We got Waltman who says, "So did we vote it? So did we vote Andre as the new ME speaker?" No, Paul got to vote. He's the speaker of the Midnight's Edge House. Paul is.
How did that happen? Where was I for this?
He he nominated himself and appointed
I
himself
have
speaker.
seniority. I have
Well,
diversity.
it had to be a white guy.
Because why? Wait, what?
Because there's so much overrepresentation.
'Cause
of
we're so
peoples of
racist.
color elsewhere.
I have to say that Paul Cheto's attendance record has Trump mined by 100-fold in the last 6 months.
Yeah. No,
He came out of nowhere, man. In the last 3 to 6 months, he just killed my attendance record. But you know who I'm still beating?
Culture?
Casino. Yep. At least on Mead.
Yes, that's true. Brian Barth has been a member for 2 months at the maximum effort puppy level. Thank you so much. Says, Hail panel question. Thoughts on the Francis Ford Coppola production troubled news on Megalopolis? Well, it turns out, according to Francis, there is no trouble. So it depends, I guess, on who you believe on that. Are you guys aware of what this project is? Anybody?
I've heard that some people have left for basically not being able to live up to what Francis needs, and if Francis says if they're gone and Francis says the production's not in trouble, then that's a good thing.
It's his fucking money.
I saw the headline on Deadline, I think, earlier today. And
Sorry.
but I haven't read the article yet, so I have
You
no
know what?
idea.
If he's not worried, everybody needs to shut up and stop bitching and go to work and make some money. You know.
I wonder if it's his grandkids and great grandkids trying to start some shit in the press because he's pissed. They're pissed that he's spending the money. Because for those who don't know what this is Francis's dream project. He's been trying to do for years, and now that he's in the twilight of his life, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm putting all I got into this thing. It's $100-some million production, and what's the old rule in Hollywood? As we say, don't use your own money. Well, Francis ain't listening to that. He's using all his own money. So to me, it's like he's saying to his grandkids, like, fuck you, I'm doing this. You're just going to have to worry about paying for it, not me. At the end of the day. And yeah, so there was a rumor that some trouble had come out on the set. Things like peril, ballooning budget, crew exodus, and chaos were words that were attributed to it. But according to Francis, he says, I love my cast. I love what I'm getting each day. I'm on schedule and on budget. And that's what's important to me. So there you go.
Are we looking at another One from the Heart here or what?
And then Coppola says it was basically about managing the cast. So, yeah. So maybe that's another thing you got to look into it. Whoever this cast member was, they were obviously probably pissed off. They got fucking fired. You always got to look at it from that direction too.
Didn't he have a big controversy with that film One from the Heart from the early 80s?
Oh, Francis Ford Coppola and controversy.
Yeah. I know, but that's one that stands out for some reason.
Apocalypse Now. I mean,
yeah.
Do I need to go on?
Heart was a bomb, though. No one even thinks about it.
Well, yeah. No, I hear you, but like that's the thing is this man has made a lot of movies, and you know what? He's probably ain't got no time for your shit.
No, that's true.
I think that's really what it boils down to. I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think, though, on that.
Like you said,
I already went. If he's not worried, I'm not worried. Let's go, people. Stop complaining.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. But thank you for that, Brian. And then we've got Mecha J who says, I can't get excited for Ant-Man movie. On top of tuning out of Phase 4 in general, I thought the second movie was pretty mid. Yeah, I was really let down by the second film because I really enjoyed the first one. In fact, I've
they didn't have a good villain for the second one. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Well, and that fell into Marvel's territory of not being able to have a villain that's actually evil.
Yep,
that's their problem.
And they actually haven't had an evil villain since
maybe the Red Skull. I mean,
probably
Thanos.
Yeah, I'm thinking Captain America because that was
Red Skull.
Yeah.
Well, Alexander Pierce, Red Skull, a few of them, but not many. I mean,
Alexander Pierce is kind of subtle.
He's one of the thinks he's right villains, but yeah,
because they didn't even introduce Madam Hydra in Civil.
Pierce was pretty evil though. Pierce was flat out evil.
Soldier. Yeah.
Remember, he shot an innocent woman just to cover. You know, he was bad. But yeah, you're right though. Not many. So he's not really a super.
I'm not like just evil, but also like a threat, right? Like that's the other part too. Like the Winter Soldier was kind of a threat in the Winter Soldier, but he was an agent of something that was greater, and
Yeah,
you want the
and he was a
greater to also
tool.
be a threat as well. So
Right, he was a pawn. Yeah.
Well, you know, I've been watching Yellowstone, and it just reminds me of how good writing used to be and how much shit can actually happen in an hour. And they make a great point in there about villains. They say, you know, this person isn't bad necessarily. They're just acting out on the world for all the pain that they were caused as a child. And the individual responds, yeah, that's the definition of a villain. Right? Like, have we forgotten this? It's like, so what? Yes, they've got some pain. That's the point. What makes them a villain is they're not able to get past that, and they're taking it out on everybody else around them. That's what makes them a villain.
Yeah. Yes. Well said. Yeah.
We're not supposed to understand them and fucking like, yes, we can understand them. Let me rephrase that. We're not even, we can empathize with them to a point, but we're not supposed to sympathize with them. Thank you.
yeah. No, you want to understand your villain. You want to know what they're coming from. But the thing is, they have to be coming from a place that is usually selfish or self-serving. Like, you have a villain that's a tyrant, you have to understand why they want to be a tyrant, and also understand that they're psychologically broken to thinking that they're not a tyrant, even though they're pursuing tyrannical means. Like, that's
Dr. Doom.
Yeah, that's a great
one of the
type
ultimate
of
ones.
Dr. Doom. He even has an empathetic aspect, which is he tries to he does all these evil things and whatnot to better himself and experiment with magic so he can try and save the soul of his mother. That's one of his missions,
and he thinks he thinks what he's doing is right. You know, it's good for everybody. Like, yeah. So, yeah.
Well, most bad guys do, but that's where they fail, is they fail to write a bad guy that is just. And great example, we were just talking about Doctor Strange earlier. They failed at making the villain a villain, right? Like, it's right in front of them. It's clear. Like, you have the villain is Wanda. You have it no other way. And why did you let her out of that in that way? It's just so redonkulous. It's not that hard to do. Why can't we just get, even Thanos, they kind of had to make a noble villain in a weird fucking way.
See, that's where they really screwed up with Endgame, because if they revealed that he did this not just for the quote-unquote balancing of the resources, but also to get in the pants of death, that would have made him evil.
You got a point, and I had to rescind on that, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it's like
he's
he's
taking
something that he's trying to reconcile, because the whole saving of the resources is him trying to reconcile that with himself and not admit that he just wants to kill those people so he can bang an ethereal entity.
Yep. Agreed, sir.
And or the result of him not being able to get that individual, even though he did that, is the reaction of him having and acting out on people, what have you. Irregardless, like, that's the whole point I was getting to.
Getting her leads to him destroying half the universe, and then and then you do the double down where she's like, "Oh, that's nice," and then just still leaves him away, which further shows how much of a loser she thinks he is.
Yep.
And then he just loses his temper on whatever's left.
And Sean's right here. The proper villain is a tragic backstop. Modern villains are just misunderstood. That's bullshit. And that's just it. It's like, no, you're not misunderstood. You know what you're doing. It's just bullshit. It's anyway, Valiant's got to leave us.
Yeah, I was going to say real quick. I mean, that's what's made a lot of modern villains kind of boring. I just miss the old days of give me somebody that's just pure evil. Don't try to explain it. Don't go into this lengthy backstory. It just,
and we can still like bad guys. Like, look, great example, of course, is
it's
Hans
a trope
Gruber.
now, though. It's a trope now to make you, well, let's make you sympathetic to the villain. I can't stand it. It's just like every
you don't
IP,
have to make people like them.
Yeah, it's just
go back to the character of Dr. No, right? Guy who lost his hands in an accident, gets seduced by Spectre, and now an agent of Spectre. He's a villain, but the thing is, there's sympathetic aspects to him, but he doesn't. He's just so evil that you don't even care about that anymore. But you get it all done very effectively. It's a subtle exposition, and you buy into it. You can understand and empathize with him, but you lose that empathy when he's like, "Yeah, I had technically two choices. I could have said no to Spectre, but I didn't. I said I went with Spectre." Automatically, that's like, okay, I don't care about your flaw anymore, your tragic mishap, your handicap, if you will. You had the choice. You made the one that served you best, as opposed or what you thought served you best at the expense of everybody else, as opposed to what serves you best without sacrificing innocent lives.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
But anyway, Valiant, no, thank you so much for hopping in here, buddy. It's always glad to see you and get a chance to talk to you, even if it's for a brief time. So, you got anything real quick to plug on your way out the door?
No, just everybody, when you finish the show tonight, check out the video I put out, or I'm going to put out tomorrow morning on Ant-Man. Check out the video I put out this morning with Pro and Cameron talking about some of the news that Cameron got on some of this whole new Star Wars movie that I haven't done. I never did a video.
Lindelof's attempt at writing science fiction again?
Yeah, no, I never did a video on that because the minute I saw the news article, I'm like, this is bullshit and it's never happening. This is another, like, outside. It didn't come from Lucasfilm, and I was just so, I didn't care. But we did a video on it because Cameron got some news, and I said, okay, worthy of audience consideration. Let's throw it out there. So check that video out. Check out the video that's coming out tomorrow morning on Ant-Man. And that's it. Thanks for having me here. Good to see all you guys. And God bless. Have a great night.
All right, buddy.
Take care.
See ya.
Have a good one, man.
All right. And then, yeah, Sean, you didn't have to super chat in for a typo. Tragic backstory, stupid typo. That's all right. We still understood the sentiment. But thank you, Sean. We appreciate it. And then we had Lord Trinan, who's been a member for 20 months at the Congo level. This is one of my favorite Mass Effects quotes about a villain. She's a pitiable... what is that? Pitiable?
No, pitiable.
Pitiable? I said it right the first time? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Pitiable creature, not a sympathetic one. Does he mean pitiful?
Nope, pitiable.
Pitiable is a real word? Okay.
Yep.
By all means, pity the villain, but they still made the choice to be evil. So that's another form of pity?
Yes.
Pitiable. Okay. Pitiable. Got it. Not pitiable. Pitiable.
Well, the British say pitiable.
Gotcha. Okay. Now it makes more sense what I say about that. Like, yeah, people are saying, okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is
Picard says it to the Cardassian, I find you to be a pitiable man.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say most of the time the villains are generally spoke of as pitiful creatures, right? Like, I mean, Wormtongue's a great example of that, right? Or even though he's technically a tragic kind of character, not so much a villain, but he kind of does villainous things, and at the end kind of is. Gollum or Smeagol, however you want to look at him, in Lord of the Rings, is a pitiful creature of sorts in a way. But even the ones that are not weak-willed or weak in general, you can still look at them as pitiful pieces of shit in certain ways, yeah. But all right, with that, I think that was pretty much the big news of the day. There really wasn't much else. This time of the year is kind of slow with Hollywood. It's
the Golden Globes, Golden Globes.
Yeah, who gives a fuck about the Golden Globes?
Yeah,
I'd rather watch the Gollum Globes.
Bring Ricky Gervais back to it. I'll watch it.
The smile, the precious.
Nobody gets an award but Gollum.
Oh dear.
You keep your filthy Oscars.
Anyway, that was bad. And with that, what do you guys say we wrap this up? Why not?
I think so.
We got a Toxic Tuesday coming up here later with Nick. I think he's on the phone, so I'm going to plug that for him. Sadly, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it or not, but it's a hell of a movie, and I'm sure Andre wishes he was going to be there. He's going to be talking about Fire and Ice. That's right, the classic Fire and Ice. So do check in with the boys on that. I will hopefully be able to just hop in and say hi. I don't know how long I'll be able to stay if not. But yes, do check that out tonight. That show will be tagged to this one, so it'll take you right over there. Script, you got anything at all you want to plug on the way out the door?
Just my Patreon. Got a screenplay, a pilot review coming out in a day or so. And dropped some stuff on Ant-Man earlier this morning, so go check that out.
Sweet. Clobby, anything going on this week you want to plug?
Oh, I'll be on, tomorrow with the Loki and the Comic Round Table at 7 p.m. Central, and then my show after that, 9 p.m. Central for the Wild Card Wednesday, and then I think I'll be on Dadman's channel, my good buddy Dadman's channel Thursday at around 6 or something like that, or I forgot exactly. Anyway, we're talking NFL playoffs, and then of course my Klobby's Clubhouse on Thursday night with Raquel and Mark. That'll be my 500th show on YouTube. 1200th show.
Oh
overall.
wow! Congratulations, man.
Be show number 1200 overall. So,
Wow.
and anyway, yeah. So just that going on, and then Saturday Night Star Trek, of course.
Cool.
It's back.
Cool.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for
All
having me.
right. We'll do check out Klobby's channel, of course, and Mikey.
Yes.
Mikey, welcome back, my friend. I'm so glad to have you back.
Yes, and you will get sick of me because you will also see me again here Thursday.
Ooh, I can't wait. Can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we got Midnight's Edge in the morning. Sometimes Mikey is able to pop in there if he can. And
yes, and if you got any appointments that you got to do because your health in 2023 is number one of importance to me, Tom Connors Jr. You see my little nudge, hint, that's me kicking you under the table and my elbow. Because so help me God, if anything happens to you in 2023, I will be devastated. Hint, hint.
All right. Well, we'll do our best. Yeah. And Storm King has become a new member. Holy crap. Thank you for that, Storm King. He is a minimum effort puppy. So on the way out the door, we get Mikey's favorite minimum effort puppy. Because it reminds him of Bambino, he says. All right. So with that, folks, I want to thank you all once again for being here. We appreciate you. You make this happen. If it wasn't for you, we would be talking to ourselves. And Lord knows that could get real annoying real fast. So thank you for that. And of course, hit that like button if you haven't already. Make sure you're still subscribed and all that business. And like Cosmic Vader says, the show is sponsored by Rabbit Chicken International, trademark, copyright of Mexican Iron Man Industries, Inc. All rights and lefts and centers are reserved. That's correct. So, and Nick is just getting back in the nick of time. See what I did there?
Sorry.
I know you're fine, brother. I already plugged the show for you tonight, but if there's anything else you wanted to plug on the way out the door, as I said before, hopefully I can make it for at least a pop in, but I can't guarantee it tonight. So I feel bad because I really love the movie you're watching. So
all good, man. I mean, for me, I'm coming from a normie perspective on this one, kind of like when we did Spaceballs many months back. This was my first time seeing this one, so I'm looking forward to talking from that side of things. So yeah, thank you for having me. A good conversation. Nice to have Valiant drop by as well, and thanks for being here, chat. Shout out to the mods as well. And yeah, I got that show tonight. Of course, the comic shop talk this weekend. I'll have a video out by this weekend. So yeah, thanks for having me, Tom.
Well, thanks for being here. And Mikey, on the way out the door, speaking of Bambino, and me being on a diet. Okay. Are you there?
Well, I'm saying is if you got anything you got to do, and I need to cover you on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that is my top agenda in 2023. If you got to go to appointments or anything, you just let me know and I'll help Andre out.
Well, this made me think of you and Bambino when I saw this. Plot twist. Maybe eating tacos wasn't cheating on my diet. Maybe going on a diet was cheating on my tacos.
I agree.
I love that.
Kind of
looks
remind
like
me a
Matthew
little
Lillard,
bit.
but in dog
Doesn't it?
That looks like me this morning, except
that dog is judging right now. He's sus. He thinks you're sus. All right. With that, kids, I want to thank you once again. Take care of yourself and each other. Let's see here. Where's the button for the thing here? I don't even know anymore. Would you teach me karate?
I don't believe in karate anymore. Leave me alone, Daniel.